I don't create content to please the algorithm. I create content to plant life. We live in an era where many people create content by first asking themselves, what does the algorithm want? I decided to ask myself a different question. What does someone who is silently struggling today need to hear? That difference changes everything. I do not do what I do because it is trending. I do not write because a topic has millions of searches. I do not speak because a platform promises me greater reach. And I certainly do not compromise my principles just to gain a few thousand extra views. Because I discovered something that transformed the way I live. Algorithms change, principles remain, platforms evolve, trends disappear, viral moments last only a few days. But the right word can transform a family for generations. That is why I chose a different path. While many chase virality, I want to build a legacy. While some seek approval, I choose to pursue purpose. While others create content to entertain people for a few seconds, I want to share messages that remain in people's hearts for years. It will not always be the most popular. It will not always be the most profitable. It will not always be what the algorithm decides to promote. And that is perfectly fine because I have never allowed artificial intelligence, social media, or analytics to determine the purpose of my life. Technology is an extraordinary tool. I use artificial intelligence. I use professional editing. I use cameras, microphones, software. I am constantly learning, but I will never allow those tools to replace the values that uphold my message. Technology amplifies a voice. It does not create a purpose. My purpose existed long before these platforms. It was born in the middle of mistakes, failures, difficult nights, wrong decisions, and seasons where God patiently rebuilt my character, one piece at a time. That is why I speak about family, because I believe no professional success can ever compensate for a broken home. I speak about marriage, because healthy relationships remain the foundation of a strong society. I speak about emotional healing, because many people smile on the outside while quietly falling apart on the inside. I speak about financial health, because managing our resources wisely is also a way of honoring God and serving our families well. I speak about faith, because I have learned that when human strength reaches its limit, God's grace is still more than enough. I speak about personal growth, because no one changes their destiny without first transforming the way they think. And I speak about purpose, because a life without purpose eventually becomes a life driven by other people's approval. I am not concerned whether a video receives 100 views or 100,000. Of course, I want to reach more people. Of course, I want to improve every day. Of course, I study communication, strategy, storytelling, and audiovisual production. But I will never sacrifice substance simply to gain attention. I would rather create one message that transforms a single life than a viral video that leaves no lasting impact. I have learned that statistics measure reach, but only God knows the true impact. Perhaps I will never know who listened to one of my messages just before giving up. Perhaps I will never meet the family that decided to reconcile after hearing one of my reflections. Perhaps I will never receive the testimony of the person who found hope again. But I do not need to see the harvest to keep planting, because I deeply believe in the power of the seed. A seed seems small, silent, even insignificant, yet when it falls into the right soil, it can become a tree that provides shade for generations. That is how a word of hope works. That is how an act of kindness works. That is how a message shared with love works. Perhaps no one will celebrate it today. Perhaps the algorithm will not promote it. Perhaps it will never receive thousands of comments. But the seed has already been planted, and every seed planted with integrity carries the potential to produce a harvest far greater than we can imagine. That is why I will continue writing. I will continue learning. I will continue using every tool available. I will continue improving my production. I will continue studying. I will continue innovating. But I will never allow the pursuit of popularity to replace the pursuit of purpose. My mission is not to impress the internet. My mission is to add value, to strengthen families, to inspire marriages, to encourage those who have lost hope, to promote wise financial stewardship, to inspire personal growth, to remind people that faith remains a source of strength in the midst of uncertainty, and to demonstrate that it is still possible to create content with excellence without compromising one's principles. Because at the end of life, no one will remember how many times the algorithm favored our content, but they will remember how many lives were impacted by the seeds we chose to plant. So I will keep planting with patience, with excellence, with integrity, with faith, because I believe the greatest harvest always belongs to those who never stopped planting.